to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh. Welcome to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh.
All right, what is up, guys? PI Podcast here. Today, you can hear audio. We've got a special guest today, Irish. You can introduce yourself, Irish, if you like to.
Hey, what's up? I'm Irish. I've been gaming buddies with Bull here for a while now, and I'm way better than him at Madden.
Yet to be determined because he doesn't want to play me. But yeah, today Irish is a Vikings fan, huge Vikings fan. So no better time to have him on podcast than right before the second London game they're having tomorrow against the Browns, who has the number one defense in the NFL, and their defense looks legit. It's just their offense that it's stagnant basically.
Right. I'm expecting a low scoring game. I'm thinking it might be similar to like how when they played the Packers, 13-10, 17-14, something like that. I do like Wentz being quarterback. I just don't think JJ McCarthy mentally right now is ready. Like he looks like he has all the tools. He's quick, he's got a good arm, but it's looking like he's not quite getting the concept of reading the defense, being able to figure out the coverage like that. He hasn't picked up that yet aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand. He is starting after Jaden McCarthy going down, so I mean, it's going to take a little adjustment time, obviously, in that offense. But he has been getting Justin Jefferson involved a lot, and even Jordan Addison last week too. Both of them had over 100 yards receiving last week.
And that's the thing is like Kevin McConnell has a way of, or O'Connell, sorry, has a way of getting a lot out of veterans or a lot out of people that didn't necessarily perform well in other spots. That's been proven, but the big thing too is, I can't put it all on JJ McCarthy and say he's not ready. The play calling, and especially in the first few weeks, wasn't doing him any favors. Like because he's a young quarterback, you kind of need to simplify things. And it just seemed like they were just throwing him into the fire and trying to run these really kind of, exotic schemes and things that were just kind of complicated and things he wasn't ready for. So it looked like as soon as they threw Wentz in there, okay, we're just going to go back to the basics, start throwing slants, start throwing, 5-yard ins, 5-yard outs, throw it to the flats. And again, why weren't you doing that with JJ McCarthy? Why weren't you doing your young quarterback any favors? That's kind of what bothers me a little bit,
Yeah, and that offense. I mean, the offensive line's been heavily injured, and to make these play calls with these long developing routes. I mean, it's not worth it, especially when your offensive line can't hold, and you got a guy in his second career start, trying to read a defense and trying to wait for those routes to open. I mean, it's a hard task on a young quarterback like JJ McCarthy to even get an understanding of, basically.
Exactly, and it's just a composition of a lot of little things. Like he's coming off a knee surgery, he just had a baby. Like you said, it's his second, third start ever in his career. He knows his offensive line is banged up, so there is times where yes, maybe he is leaving the pocket a little early or panicking a little bit and not letting these routes develop. But a lot of times it's not his fault. So again, I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying I don't like him. I just think he needs more mental reps, if that makes sense. Like look at the quarterbacks who've had success. You know, uh, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Favre for a good number of years. Same thing with Jordan Love, sat behind Rodgers for a few years. Like, every once in a while you find a diamond in the rough and you have these rookies that you can just throw in there and they're successful. But a lot of times they need to be able to catch up to the speed of the NFL because the big thing is, especially with someone like JJ, he was faster than everyone in college and he was better than everyone in college. But then all of a sudden you get to the next level and these are grown men and they're all fast and they're all strong. So it's like he has to be able to catch up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot to on JJ McCarthy, like you just said. Like he's used to being faster than everybody in college, like you said. And the NFL is just a different game. Like it's a lot faster than what you see in college. You're going against professional linebackers. You're going up against professional players on defense that sometimes have years of experience. And it's honestly in his second start in like two starts, it's hard on any quarterback, especially a rookie at that point. And last week, against the Steelers, I know they were down two scores, and that ended up having to be a pass happy game. But Carson Wentz did throw for 350 yards last week, which is which isn't easy to do in the NFL.
Yeah, especially lately, I feel like defenses have really tightened up. They're really just, it's almost like we're going back to the 90s football, right? Like running the football is becoming a lot more popular, running the ball, playing defense. All these kickers now can make 55 to 60-yard field goals with ease. So when you get the ball at the 30-yard line, you really only have to go, what, 30, 35 yards to be able to be in field goal range. So yeah, the game's kind of changing a little bit, but again, I just like having the veteran presence of Wentz for now. Like you said, he's feeding the targets that need to be fed. Having Addison back obviously is huge. Like you could tell we had a big dip from Justin Jefferson to our second receiver. I like Naylor, I like Thielen, but those guys are slot receivers. They're not really number two guys, you know. So having Addison back definitely huge. And I actually saw a stat for defense. I saw this yesterday. This actually really blew my mind. When we have Van Ginkel on the field, our pass rush and our defense is top three in the NFL. When
Wow.
he's not on the field, we are 31st in defense.
Holy, that's
Yeah,
an
so
insane stat.
that's insane. I had to read it twice because I was like, "There's no way it's that big of a drop off with just one player." But he he makes he they need so much focus on him that our other players are able to get one on ones, and that opens everything else up. So he's actually really important to our scheme and to what we're doing, and hopefully he'll get healthy here, especially with the bye week coming up after this game and we can start. But man, the big thing too, this is our schedule over the next 4 weeks is, I mean, brutal is an understatement. So we have our bye week after Cleveland, then we go Eagles, then we go Chargers, then we go Lions,
Oh my
then we
goodness.
go Ravens. That 4 week
And Lamar
stretch
will be
right there.
back right there at that time.
Yeah, that is. I mean, we'll be lucky to go 1-3 in that stretch. You know what I mean? Like, so that's absolutely brutal. So I hate to say it, but I kind of already washed this season off as like, we have a tough schedule. We have a rookie quarterback who's going to be learning. Like, I saw us going 6-11, 7-10, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, so again, I'm not stressing about it too much. I think we do have a good team, and I am slightly concerned that we might be wasting Justin Jefferson's prime. But again, it's always been a Viking problem ever since I've been alive that we always don't really have like a franchise quarterback like all these other teams seem to find.
Hmm.
So.
I do gotta ask you this though. I know there was a lot of when JJ went out on IR. There's a lot of rumors. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. But do you think Kevin O'Connell intentionally benched JJ McCarthy?
I would say I don't know if it was 100% intentional, but maybe it's like half and half. Like maybe he was a little bit banged up, but maybe he also kind of read the room and said, "Hey, look, we got some veterans on this team. We got, I'm starting to hear some noise. Like, And again, I saw all I needed to see in the first two games I watched of JJ. And again, like I said, all the physical tools are there. He's fine there. It's he's a second or two slow in development and reading the plays, and that's just going to come with time and reps. So again, I'm not stressing about it. I just think that maybe with because of JJ, because of Addison being back, and maybe he just thought Wentz could kind of steer the ship a little bit, just give you some veteran leadership and some presence, you know?
Yeah, and if your defense is not horrible, they're above middle of the pack defensively. I mean, your run defense can be good. Your pass defense, it wasn't in prime form against DK Metcalf last week. But I mean, if you can be a bend but don't break defense, and Carson Wentz can get his rhythm going. I mean, you have the weapons on offense to do it and keep up, especially if Carson Wentz plays well.
100%. And I think the big thing with Wentz too that I forgot to mention, he's looking for Hawkinson. Like when we were at our best the year, when we had a Darnold and we were doing all this stuff, even before that, when we had Keenum and those guys, like Hawkinson became a big part of our offense. And he, over the last year, yes, he was coming off an injury, but he just kind of became non-existent in the offense. And I've noticed that Wentz is not only looking for Jefferson more, but he's kind of getting Hawkinson more involved as well. And that opens up the middle of the field. That opens up the run. That opens up a lot more things when you're getting your 6'7" tight end involved.
Yeah,
So,
and
and as far as what you said, sorry to interrupt you,
oh no,
but
you're
as
good.
far as what you said for the defense, I, I love our defensive coordinator. I really do. But one thing that drives me crazy with him, and it's been an ongoing problem, he seems to just not make adjustments, especially in the playoffs. Like the last 2 years, we've lost in the wild card round, and it's like he just keeps banging his head against the wall and hoping to get a different result. Like if you're doing your little A gap blitz and it's not working, switch to something else, man. And it just bothers me because I'm watching these games and he's running the same defense over and over. Like when we played the Falcons, that game was definitely winnable. He just wouldn't make any adjustments to stop the damn run
Hmm.
at all. He just kept doing the same thing. And what do you expect? Nothing's going to change. So again, as much as I like our defensive coordinator, man, like I don't know if it's something our head coach needs to talk to him about or if we just need to get somebody else in there. But like the whole game of football and the reason why everyone loves football and it's such a beautiful game, it's almost like playing chess. It's all about making adjustments and counter adjustments and kind of shifting stuff back and forth. And he just lines up with the same formation and the same defense and the same cover three over and over and over and over and over. And it just kills me, man. Like, do something, do anything different.
I think it's a little bit of an overconfidence thing with Brian Flores because he's known for exotic blitzes. But when those exotic blitzes don't work, you have to figure out a way to get to the quarterback, but also be playing good defense, good pass defense, and good run defense. And as you said, he doesn't stray away from what he knows, and that's a bad thing, especially when you're down, getting run on by teams, and you're getting down by two scores. I mean, you got to switch it up if they're figuring you out.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why he's even semi been looking so good is because we get a lot of sacks, and I think we get a lot of lucky turnovers as far as like fumbles, diving interceptions on the ground, stuff like that. So I think that covers up a lot of our defensive gaps and a lot of like our, what we're lacking. But again, how he's been our defensive coordinator, what, 3 seasons now? It's like, how has anyone, not anyone in the room, no coaches, no anyone, gone up to him, and been like, hey man, like maybe we should try something different. Or maybe we should switch things up when this, and this happens, Like he's surrounded by professional coaches and players. How has no one changed it? That's kind
Yeah.
of what bothers me. Because we have the talent. As far as personnel and players, we have all the talent. It's just, you got to be able to utilize it, use it correctly.
I was surprised because I bet you remember last year when Vikings played the Falcons, our defense let Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison get over 120 yards receiving, and they both got 2 touchdowns, which
Right.
is that's really the peak, if not more, of that offense. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison can take over games, and JJ McCarthy wasn't doing it. Obviously the injury doesn't help, but it it will help him to be on the bench and learn from a veteran quarterback in Carson Wentz. But they do have
Exactly.
the weapons. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no excuse not to score points.
because like just watching Wentz these last few games, being on the sideline and then being able to go over to Wentz and pick his brain. What did he see? What was he looking for? Like that all is going to help in the long run. So again, I'm for JJ McCarthy specifically. I know it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm not stressing about him. I'm not going to say he's a bust. He just needs time. Because look at the last few rookie quarterbacks that have actually done well. Bo Nix, right? He was in college for what, 5 years? So he came in the league at 24, 25 years old. He was a grown man. He'd already been doing this forever. JJ's still a kid, you know? So again, we just need to give him time and we just have to hope that the rest of our team just doesn't give up on him, basically.
Yeah. I think tomorrow, I mean, let's be honest. The Cleveland Browns are the best defense in football right now, and it's obviously amazing to see when I watch the games and the Cleveland Browns. I mean, it's so frustrating to watch their offense, but when you go to their defense, they can make splash plays whenever possible. They've held Derrick Henry to 20 yards, 22 yards to be exact. They've just held running backs to under 100 yards, and that just that just makes life easier for the pass defense. And when you have Myles Garrett and a good pass rush, there was literally 2 snaps in a row a few weeks ago and last week, Myles Garrett, 2 back-to-back snaps, not even drives, back-to-back snaps. He got 2 sacks in a row, and then last week he got a sack and then a tackle for loss, back-to-back snaps. I mean, to be honest, if I had to be, Myles Garrett is the defensive player of the year right now in my eyes, just by how I've seen him play. There is nobody winning back-to-back snaps as much as Myles Garrett is.
And the fact that he's not just permanently double teamed at this point, again, it's just maybe these coaches and teams know something that I don't. But common sense says when someone's that big and strong and that good, just double team them. Just double team them every play and just don't have to worry about it, you know? But again, the big thing when playing a team like Cleveland is just you can't turn the ball over. That's how you lose. You have I'm okay when you play a team like Cleveland playing conservative, where okay, go for it on third down. Oh darn, didn't get it. Punt it deep. Force their offense to win the game for them. Don't give their defense a gift. You know what I mean? That's the big thing. So unfortunately, I think Wentz, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be a little better as far as managing the team, not turning the ball over, just be like I said, being that veteran presence that we need. But again, it's like you said, we have all the weapons and all the tools. It's just I don't know if it's a bad luck thing. I've been obviously a Vikings fan my whole life, but between injuries and just obviously timely missed field goals and everything that's happened in our franchise's history, it's just like, man, I think we're due for a break. Geez, when's it gonna end? Like
Yeah. Look, the Vikings have players on both sides that can really play the ball. It just right now, I mean, it's really the quarterback situation. And look, Sam Darnold was really good at that offense, but he kind of crumbled in the playoffs. I mean, that team had all the players, all the coaching staff. They had everything they need to make a run to the Super Bowl last year, and I mean, it was the quarterback decision that eventually ended that season for you guys last year, and you guys only lost 2 games. I mean, I I don't know how you fix
so.
that in a year,
So
but
again, a big part of it is exactly what I said with JJ McCarthy. It was the play calling. Like we had a few injuries on the offensive line. We lost O'Neal, so we didn't have Darisaw, our left tackle, who's one of the best left tackles in football. Didn't have him, and our right tackle was also banged up. That's when again it's my same complaint with Brian Flores. That's when you need to fricking make adjustments. Stop doing these crazy 7-step drop 15-yard ins and crossing, just do simple crossing routes, slants, outs, flats, screens. Get the ball out of your hand quick. So yes, Darnold did kind of buckle under the pressure, I will admit. But again, they did not do him any favor with that damn play calling. Get the ball. Look at the quarterbacks that are succeeding this year. Baker Mayfield, right? Matthew Stafford. Those guys Jared Goff's another good one. Those guys get the ball out of their hand so fast that like you literally see defensive linemen tell them all the time, like, dude, I hate you. Because it's like it's virtually impossible to sack them. Because it's hike the balls out of my hand in 1.6 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, and we need to start because we have such good players, especially on the outside with Addison and Jefferson. We need to start simplifying stuff and going back to that. Because I was actually going to make this point earlier when you brought up the Ravens. This whole JJ situation almost kind of reminds me of when Lamar Jackson was a rookie. I almost feel like they tried to kind of change him his first couple of years, and they tried to turn him into like a pocket quarterback and almost try to turn him into like a Peyton Manning. And that's not his game. So I think after either like his second or third year, they kind of said, forget it. And they reshaped their whole offense to basically turn it into his old college offense. And then that's when he started thriving. Like that's what more teams need to do with these younger players, especially, is you need to tailor your offense to their strengths, not try to change how they play. You know?
Yeah, and that's a great point actually, because Lamar, they did exactly what you said. They tried to make him a pocket passer, and he never was. I mean, he's always like a kind of a RPO read option guy, and now that they figured it out the past few years, I mean, you see what that offense does, especially with Derrick Henry on that team now, and the Vikings, as you said, they have to not take those step dropbacks because you won't have the time, especially with an injured O line. As long as you can feed your Justin Jefferson or get your receivers involved, they should have no problem being able to get first downs. Now the problem is, can your defense stop the run? I mean, they're capable of, and all the injuries does not help on that. But to be down multiple scores and having to force pass the ball, that's never what you want as a team. And Carson Wentz showed he can sling the rock. I mean, I just think it's gonna be tough tomorrow, honestly, because when I look at that Cleveland Browns defense, I mean, they stop the run whenever they want. They stop the pass too. They stop everything. They're number one defense for a reason. They got to be able to protect Carson Wentz if they want to have a chance tomorrow.
Exactly. And again, I hate to say it because I sound like a broken record, but it's just comes down to play calling. Like the big thing with O'Connell is his schemes. He likes to have as many receivers run routes as possible. That includes the tight end and that includes the running back. When you have a banged up offensive line, doesn't common sense dictate, hey, maybe we should keep an extra tight end in or keep the running back in to help block? Give us an extra blocker or two. So think about it. Instead of having 5 routes go out, what if you only have 3 routes go out, but because it's Justin Jefferson, Addison, and Thielen, 3 really good receivers, as long as your quarterback has a few extra seconds, he can find the open receiver. It doesn't matter how many routes you have running if your quarterback gets sacked in a second and a half. You know? So again, adjustments, adjustments, adjustments. Help your quarterback out. Give him extra protection. And it bothers the heck out of me that he doesn't do that ever, ever. Every single snap. Hike. There goes the running back off in the flats. There goes the tight end, streak down the middle. It's like, dude, you gotta read the room, man. You gotta read the room.
Yeah, and look, you got to get more screens involved, and these quick passes are gonna help, especially Carson Wentz. I mean, you can't just sit there and expect your offensive line to hold. I mean, obviously, it's a job for all these people, but still, the team knows how well their offensive line can play. And a big storyline as well in this game tomorrow is Dylan Gabriel's first career start. He came from college. I'm not sure, honestly, how well he's gonna play. It's a rookie's first start, so that bodes well for the Vikings. Just because rookies tend to get over themselves in their first career starts, they tend to make so many mistakes. But Dylan Gabriel's been sitting behind Joe Flacco. I mean, he's seen Joe Flacco be check down Joe the whole season, so hopefully he learns a little bit from that and just and checks it down a little bit.
So the thing with Gabriel is kind of what I mentioned earlier is that he's one of these quarterbacks, kind of a lot like Penix, a lot like I said, Bo Nix. He was in college for 5 years. So yes, he's coming in as a rookie and he's coming in fresh, but he's a 25-year-old dude. He's a grown man, and I think he gives them an extra like versatility in their offense as far as he's a little quicker. He can move with his legs. They can maybe do some RPOs that they couldn't do with Flacco. They can do some bootlegs and some quarterback keepers and stuff like that. So I think if anything, it can't hurt to, you're obviously going nowhere with Flacco. He's not your future. He's washed. We all know that. So while you have this dominant record breaking defense, why not try out these other young kids and see if you got a diamond in the rough, right?
Yeah. And I mean, they drafted two rookie quarterbacks. I mean, talking about the Siddur Sanders situation, I mean, I feel like they just drafted him just because to draft him because he dropped so far, in my opinion, that it was. I mean, I feel like he should have been drafted in the third, second round at least. I mean, but to not even have him be a backup, I mean, and maybe they see something we don't, but I think Shador should deserves a chance, especially if Dylan Gabriel does not do well in the first few weeks he starts.
Exactly. I think what it was for Cleveland, it just boiled down to it was just a calculated risk. Like, he's fallen so far that it's like we get him in the fifth round. It's either he works out and we're geniuses, or he doesn't work out and he was only a fifth round pick. So it's like it's win-win either way. And so I think he was just kind of an insurance policy in case Flacco got hurt or didn't work out. In case, I think their plan was to kind of let Gabriel and him kind of battle it out in training camp and kind of see who wanted it more and who was going to show you something. But I kind of agree with you. If they keep having a losing season, they keep losing games, why not at least throw him in there, see what he can do? I mean, it can't get any worse, right? You're only scoring 13 points a game, 10 points a game, whatever it is. So again, give these young kids a chance, see if they can give you a little spark.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised they waited this long to take Joe Flacco out. Because if you look at game film and just look at straight Joe Flacco throughout the first 4 weeks, he did not want to throw the ball more than I'd say 8 yards down the field. He literally, if he didn't like what he saw, he just checked it down, and that is so predictable as an offense. And to have that as good as a defense that they do, and not play complementary football, not be able to score any points, it just makes life hell. Because if you had an actually okay quarterback that could throw the ball down the field a little bit, I think they'd be 3-1 right now. I mean, their defense is good enough to play
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. And I think that is where Gabriel can make a slight difference. Again, he's a rookie. He might be nervous. We'll see how his first start goes. But let's say a certain situation like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. In that situation with Flacco, it's tough because 4 yards or 5 yards is too far to run the ball on third down. But he's such a statue that he's just a deer in the headlights back there. Someone like Gabriel can scramble around, can buy time, or he can actually pick up those 4 or 5 yards with his legs. And I think that's where he's gonna be able to kind of make the difference. And maybe even if he's not scoring a lot more than Flacco, at least just moving the chains and getting a few first downs to let that defense rest. That's a big difference too. Not only that, the field position. If you get a few first downs, even if you have to punt, giving your defense that's that dominant a good field position and pinning your opponent deep, that's a game changer right there.
Yeah, and there's some pocket passes left, but now the NFL has changed to where if you don't have a scrambling quarterback, you kind of lose an edge, especially against the defense. Because if your quarterback can't get out of the pocket at least a little bit, have some sort of mobility, I mean, you're just going to be taking sacks whenever, if you had a mobile quarterback, you could maybe have gone out of that pocket, thrown a first down, or run for a few yards to make positive play. And it's just how the NFL is now. A lot of teams have a quarterback that can be mobile at least a little bit.
Exactly. And the only counter to that is what I mentioned earlier, the release time. Look at someone like Aaron Rodgers, perfect example, right? In his young days, yeah, he was mobile, he could move, but now he's 100 years old. He's a statue back there just like Flacco. But what's the difference? He gets the ball out of his hand so unbelievably fast that even at 40 years old, he's barely getting touched back there because it's hike, throw, hike, 3-step drop, throw, hike, the ball's out of my hands because he's making those quick decisions. And his offensive coordinator is actually doing him a favor by calling those short routes and short throws. That's what I want the Vikings to start doing, especially when JJ comes back, is man, like same thing like I said with Lamar Jackson, man. Let's simplify things. Let's break it down. Let's get it back to what he was known for and what his strengths are, which is being mobile, bootlegs, waggles, RPOs. Get the ball moving. Let's be quick. Let's spread the ball out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Look, I think honestly, a big reason why we're seeing passing yards being lower than we usually see, I think there's a big factor in the new kickoff rules because more teams are taking the kickoff out than ever before this year. And usually when I'm watching the kickoffs, they're taking out to the 30, 35, which obviously means less passing yards for that drive throughout the game. And I've seen it multiple times. Usually, people are getting to the 40 at times, especially if the kick short at like the 15-yard line. Then it's really affecting that passing running kind of ratio and the stats wise for passing yards.
I definitely think that's part of it. You're 100% correct. Getting the ball at the 40, you only, like I said, you only have to go 20 yards to be in field goal range. So it's just less yardage overall to get. But I think what a big part of it is too, if I'm being honest, I think the defenses have just gotten sick and tired of these quarterbacks throwing for 400, 500 yards a game, getting these deep passes down the field. I think they're just sick of it. So almost all these defensives have just been playing two safeties over the top and almost daring these teams to run because it's like running's not flashy, running's not fun and cool. It's slow and boring and teams don't want to do that. But if you're constantly having that two safety shell over the top and you're taking all those deep routes away, they have no choice but to dink and dunk it and run the ball more. And that just slows the whole game down overall.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen over the last few years so many too high shell defenses just because of that they don't want to give up the deep ball, and it opens up that dink and dunk offense that Joe Flacco likes.
I
But
mean, who's made a
also,
living off of that? Jalen Hurts.
yep,
You look at the Eagles play, they're 4-0. And it's just simple dink and dunk, run the ball, play good defense, make our field goals, and just play the field position game. And then again, people want to make fun of him and talk and say he's not a good quarterback. He can't throw the ball. Hey man, we're winning games. I don't care how we win the game, as long as we win the game.
I'm glad
I
he
don't care
brought
if I threw for 96 yards. As long as we win the dang game, that's all that matters. And I think more teams need to adapt that mindset. It doesn't need to be pretty or stylish or cool or exciting. Just win the dang game, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought the Eagles up because they're 4-0. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter how they get it done, but the thing I'm worried about is their passing offense, and I think it's to a rate crazy stat from last week. They had 0 passing yards in the second half of the game, 0.
Exactly.
That's almost unacceptable, and how they won that game is kind of a miracle at that point because if you have 0 passing yards in the game, that means that you didn't move the ball at all unless your run game got going.
Exactly. And so for me, like, and I know I'm just a basic fan. I don't get paid millions of dollars to coach these teams and come up with these schemes and all this stuff, right? So I can sit here and they need to do this and that all the live long day. What do I know, right? But if I'm common sense again dictates that if I'm playing against the Eagles, I am stacking the heck out of that box. I'm putting 8 guys in that box. One of my safeties is living on the line of scrimmage. He is not playing deep. He's living on the line of scrimmage, and you have to force the Eagles to throw the ball down the field. Don't let them run the ball with Barkley and get 3, 4, 5 yards of carry. Don't let them run little screens all the live long day. Bring your whole defense up, load the box, shut down the run, and force them to beat you throwing the ball. That's the recipe. And again, easier said than done. I know because they do have athletes on the outside. They do have A.J. Brown. They do have Devontae Smith. But again, force him to prove that he can do it play after play after play.
Yeah, and that's exactly a few weeks ago against the Rams. That's what the Rams did. They should have won. The Rams should have won that game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that block field goal was a fluke. 100%. Like, it's just one of those things,
Yeah, they shut down Saquon Barkley and forced Jalen Hurts to pass, and that first half was the prime reason why the Eagles should be worried. But then the second half came and they started clicking, and then you were like, "Oh, the Eagles' offense is starting to click. This is about to be a dangerous team." And then last week they're having the same issues again. They got a little bit of offensive going on passing wise in the first half, and then zero passing yards in the second half. I think it comes down to scheme. I think it comes down to play calling, but I think it's unacceptable to not have AJ Brown go for more than 50 yards a game. I mean, to have 2 catches for 7 yards. I mean, I get that you're winning, but at a point that's gonna come back to haunt you.
Exactly. And like, so if I'm an Eagles fan, there's two things that I'm concerned with. The number one and the obvious one is Saquon Barkley breaking down, right? We've seen it with other running backs like McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott in his prime. Like if you lean on these, running backs too much, especially early in their career, they're gonna break down. So that's my big concern is how much can Barkley carry the load? And number two, you can't lose AJ Brown. And what I mean lose him, not him getting traded to another team. You can't lose him mentally because right now he's not getting catches, he's not getting targets, and yes, they're winning games. But at what point does he start being like, dude, this is bullshit? Like you said, unacceptable. I need to get the ball. And you're gonna need him come December and January when the playoffs come and those cold months start coming and playoffs come, like I said, and these teams are stacking the box and forcing you to throw. That's when you need AJ Brown. So you can't lose him now. You gotta find a way to get him, tether him back, get him involved so that he feels like he's part of the team again.
Yeah, he's been posting all over social media and stuff. Like different things. I mean, he acts like he's okay with not getting the ball, but a lot of these receivers want to be involved in the offense. And like, I don't care if you throw a screen to him or a slant. You just got to get him involved. 7 yards. Do you? How mad, Irish? How mad would you be if Justin Jefferson got 7 yards, 2 catches for 7 yards on any game that you've seen in the last year?
Now, did we win the game?
And theoretically, I'd say no.
Okay, so if we lost the game and he only had 2 catches for 7 yards, then yes, I'm absolutely furious because I'm like, what? He's one of, if not the best receiver in football. How the heck is he not getting the ball? But if he only has 2 catches for 7 yards and we win the game, it's kind of hard to be mad.
Yeah.
Like it really is. And so I actually, who made a really good point about this? I was listening to a podcast the other day, Ocho Cinco, when he was talking on his podcast with Shannon Sharp.
Mhm.
He was talking about receivers in general. He said, here's the thing about receivers you have to realize. We get paid based off of our production. Winning and losing doesn't come into the factor as far as our contracts and our paychecks. It's all about production. So if I'm AJ Brown, yeah, cool, we're 4-0, we're winning games, but I'm not getting any catches, I'm not getting any yards. My production is at an all-time low. I'm not going to be able to sign for as big of a contract as I probably would have been able to if I had 120 catches, 1500 yards and 10 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So again, that's one factor that I didn't even think about or I didn't even look at it that way is yeah, it's cool, but at what point is this starting to affect your actual paycheck,
And right here, look, the Eagles are the second worst team in the NFL offensively and passing offense. Second worst, only above the Tennessee Titans, who are really bad on passing offense is horrible. The Eagles are averaging 138 passing yards per game through 4 weeks. And I, I don't know how you fix that because if you snap, you have to offensively, you have to be able to snap on and get into a rhythm. But if you can't get into a rhythm with the play calling, I mean, it just messes everything up. And Saquon hasn't hit 100 yards this season, which is unheard of because of last year he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards. So they're winning games and they're happy with it, but come these later weeks in the season and eventually the playoffs, I mean, you're gonna have to figure that out. If you can't, I don't see this team repeating. That's honestly a big concern for me right now for the Eagles to repeat.
Yeah, I think it is too. And again, let's be honest, a lot of it boils down to luck as far as injuries and stuff like that. But they're in a division that's, I hate to say it, with the Cowboys how they are, the Giants obviously, and then I just think with Jaden Daniels' injury now, I think they've almost all but guaranteed the division already at this point. So they do have that, but again, yeah, they do need to fix some things, and they need to kind of have they need to have a wake up call because you can't keep winning games like this with such little yardage. Eventually, something's going to give, and then that's when you start losing the locker room, and that's when they start calling for the coach to be fired and all this stuff. So, Philadelphia, we all know Philadelphia fans are the worst in any sport.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean,
you win
God
a Super Bowl
forbid.
last year, but it's what have you done for me lately? So it's
So I'm looking at this. So I have NFL Plus. It's like the yearly subscription to have. You get to watch Red Zone and all that stuff, but you also get to watch games after and stuff like that. But they also give you access to NFL Pro, which is new for. It came out last year in the middle of the season. It's honestly kind of one of the biggest like stat wise. It's like the most useful kind of stats that I've seen on any website. It will go after pressure rate for defense, it will passing offense, everything. It will show you everything. And just looking at the insights, I just thought this was it popped out to me. Um, Carson Wentz has thrown downfield on 34.8% of his pass attempts this season, the ninth highest rate in the NFL. And you
right.
weren't getting that with JJ McCarthy.
Exactly. And I think if you wanted to look, I don't know if there was a way to look it up from last year, but I'm sure if you looked up Sam Darnold's numbers from last year, it was very similar. I'm sure he was in the top 7, top 5, maybe even top 3 because he was slinging the ball downfield last
Oh yeah,
year.
I got 24
And
right
again,
here.
that is a big part of our offense. Don't get me wrong, but that requires a lot of things. That requires the offensive line to hold up. That requires, your rookie quarterback not getting nervous and scrambling too early before the route develops like that. And so again, that's just going to be a learning curve with the young kid. That's all.
Yeah, stats per game for Sam Darnold last year, he averaged 254 passing yards a game, which is a lot, and he ended up 4,300 yards passing, 35 touchdowns.
Yeah, and again, don't get me wrong, he absolutely crumbled at the end. I mean, it was bad, but
Yeah.
it's I'm a Vikings fan. We're used to that, so it's not. Yeah.
Hey, you got that Minneapolis Miracle to keep your head up, so.
Yeah, that was actually crazy.
And it's against the Aints, so it makes me even happier too. So,
At what point do you start? I know they're in your division, but at what point do you start feeling bad for the Saints, man? Like,
never. I don't feel bad for them at
never.
all. They're literally the worst franchise in the NFL. I mean, there's nothing good to say about them. With
Yeah.
especially with Bountygate and everything. I mean, there's no other team that are
Yeah.
disgusting, useless, less
If
talented.
you're them, you got to do Alvin Kamara a favor and just get him to another team at this point.
Yeah, he
Let the
can't
man
even hit a
live.
1,000 yards rushing. I mean, I ain't worried about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. He's done his
uh,
due diligence. He deserves to go out better than that?
Yeah, I'm so glad we. Well, I hate this is the first time the Falcons have a week 5 bye. Like we usually have an week 8 or 9 bye. I think last year
Yeah.
was 11, but
Do
we
you
usually
do
have a
you
middle season.
prefer the early buy over the later in the year buy or?
I like the eight. I like the week 9 bye. It right in the middle of the season. I think that just helps, especially injury wise. I know
Yes.
if this bye, fortunately for us, helps us because AJ Terrell will potentially be coming back after this bye because of his injury. So, thankful that this bye is early just because of that. But realistically, I'd like a week 9 bye because let's say it's we have this early bye and then someone really big gets hurt week 6. Let's say we already had our bye week, so there's not going to be time for any for them to heal before our next game. So
Exactly. And
it's
then you might even have like a Thursday night game thrown in the mix or something. So it's like even less time. Yeah,
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah. But the good thing about it as well is that I get to watch Falcons football every Sunday till the end of the season now. Like I wouldn't be looking at that schedule and say, oh, we have a bye, so I'll just be chilling this week. No, we have this week bye this week, so now I'll be watching football every week, Falcons football every week till the end of the season. So I guess that's a little bit of a good thing, but I really, Early buys aren't always the greatest thing.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to you and the Bucks in the division. It's pretty much a head-to-head race. So,
And the Bucks
um,
schedule, if you look at their schedule, they have some tough games coming up.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Which is good for us. But we also have after our next week on Monday Night Football, we play the Bills at home, which should help
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah. You guys got to start winning some games. You got to start helping yourselves. You know.
Yeah. The Bucks 3-game schedule is looking like it's Seahawks. They play Seahawks this week, then Niners and Lions.
I think they can win at least 2 of those, though. The Bucks are playing really good.
Yeah,
Baker's playing out of his mind.
They look good offensively. And I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah. All right, I'm probably gonna call it on that one if that's okay.
Yeah, you're good. No worries.
No worries. But I really appreciate the invite. Thanks for letting me talk about my horrible team.
Yeah.
And
just give
and
me
if
your score for the game tomorrow. Who do you think is gonna win?
I'm gonna say Vikings 20-17.
Okay. I picked the Vikings.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say we get a couple lucky touchdowns. But
yeah. But thank you again, Irish, for hopping on.
Yeah, like I said, thanks for having me. It was fun to talk football, and if I can definitely set my camera up, and if you ever need me in the future or anything, just let me know.
Yeah, I definitely will. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
again,
thanks,
Irish,
man.
And
have a good one.
We'll see you guys
Bye.
next time.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. All right, so thank you guys for watching. We'll have the game previews and stuff tonight. So just wanted to have Irish on because he's a big Vikings fan. Just wanted to get him on a podcast for a short little Vikings kind of stream. So thank you guys for watching. And we'll be back live tonight. Peace.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PI Podcast and on Twitter at PI Podcasters. Until next time.